Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar on the 411 on COVID-19 funding questions. We missed recording the beginning of the intro for this, so re-recording this for that purposes. My name is Paulina Cameron. I'm the CEO of the Forum for Women Entrepreneurs. Delighted to have you joining us today. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge the lands and territories in which we reside. I am based in Vancouver, British Columbia, residing on the territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations, and we are grateful for the lands on who everyone on the call today resides on. We have at FWE been responding to the COVID challenges by bringing immediate and helpful resources in the format of webinars over the past few weeks. And today we are diving into topics around what are funding options for entrepreneurs with our major Canadian funding institutions. So we're so grateful for our partners who quickly rallied to jump onto this webinar with us. It will be recorded and posted on our website afterwards, as will the PowerPoint and contact information for everyone. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Included the two loans programs, if you will, 2 or 3 loans programs, because this is where people are looking at financing. There are many, many other programs available, and you can find those on the canada.ca website. And I know in one of the later slides that the website link is provided. But I'll talk specifically about these two because this is what we're seeing with our clients. The first one is the Canada Emergency Business Account. That's the $40,000 loan that people are talking about. You access it through your primary bank, so whoever you have your relationship with, your day-to-day banking relationship with. It opened last week, and I think all the banks are up. Many of the credit unions are up. There are still a few credit unions, maybe several credit unions in rural communities that are very small, and they are not yet up on this program, but I believe that the intention is for all credit unions and other banks, if you will, to have access to this program. So the main sticking block on this one is you need to have payroll of a minimum 50,000. And for many solopreneurs, sole proprietorships, they're not qualifying for that. And also for companies who pay themselves through dividends, also not qualifying for this. So what I was told this morning on the account with the federal government is that if you don't qualify for CEBA, Canada Emergency Business Account, then CERB, C-E-R-B, is the option for you. However, that's not the case. That's the $2,000 a month, and we see many of our clients are still maintaining some level of business and so are not able to apply for the CERB for the $2,000 a month because they have some income. I'm also told by the federal government call that they are working on allowing some minimum of hours, or it would also include some minimum level of revenue in the business. So still as yet to be seen what happens there. But on the Canada Emergency Business Account, it has some nice terms, being 0% interest until December 31st, 2022. If you pay by that time, 25% of the loan amount is forgiven. Remember, it's up to 40,000, so you don't have to apply for that full amount, and I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. And the 3-year extension, if you're not able to pay by 2022, then the 3-year extension is at 5%. So those are some reasonable terms if you can get that funding. Before you apply for financing, you want to have cash flow projections. And I think what we're seeing now is this is not going to be a short-term situation. This is a long-term. We don't know how long businesses will be closed down or running at a reduced level. And once recovery starts, we don't know how quickly that recovery will come back. And it is probably very much dependent on the industry that you're in and how quickly it comes back. So really doing some deep dives into your cash flow projections, figuring out what you think you need in order to maintain the business to see yourself through to the recovery period and beyond. The second two here are the business credit availability program, and maybe some of the other people on the panel can talk a bit more about this. These ones are rolling out in mid-April. I'm hearing that there's still details to be worked out. We looked at the business credit availability program, the co-lending program, for a company that was well established, had been around for many, many years, and was in an industry where they had to close. And they have a payroll of over $1 million. So then the next step up would be looking at this co-lending program and talking to their financial institution to see whether or not that's an option. And then the third one is a loan guarantee for small and medium businesses offered by EDC. What is different about EDC in this current situation is they are able to support companies working domestically, doing business domestically, and not just outside of Canada. So they would provide a guarantee for new operating credit and cash flow term loans. So again, talk to your financial institution. So that's kind of a quick high-level summary. I always encourage people to go back and look at canada.ca for the government programs for the latest updates. There was legislation passed over the weekend for the wage subsidy programs. And so things are always changing and being tweaked. Yeah, I think we'll go on to the next slide, and I'll talk a little bit about what Women's Enterprise Center is doing in the 30 seconds that I have. So we jumped on very quickly for our existing loan clients. Women's Enterprise Center has a loan program that provides up to $150,000 in financing for majority-owned, women-owned businesses. So for those clients, we offered a 3-month deferral on the principal payments, and we are forgiving interest for 3 months. And we will wait and see what has to happen after that 3 months, but that was our initial starting point. We are continuing with our loan program. It is open. If clients are interested, we run a bi-weekly business loan information session. It was today, so the next one will be in 2 weeks on Tuesday, but you can find that on our website, wec.ca. We have a dedicated web page to COVID-19 where we have resources focused on resources links. We've got free webinar recordings that we've done previously. We're making them available for free. We've got cash flow template if you need one of those. Useful resources, our learning guides for marketing and financial understanding, and others are reduced to $5. We run a weekly webinar on Fridays, which is one of our business advisors is just answering questions, telling stories about situations that we're seeing throughout the week with our clients, loan clients and non-loan clients. And then we also have the option of one-on-one appointments with our business advisors. So lots and lots of resources for women entrepreneurs. Our contact information is on this slide. You just can either phone and send an email or go to our website and follow us on all our different social media contacts. So I think there's a very quick summary. I'll just leave it at that. And I know the PowerPoint slides will be sent out with this afterwards. So thank you, Paulina.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Yes, I'm sure there'll be questions too. So thank you for that overview. Next up, we have Chantal Petrie with TD. Chantal is the National Manager for Women Entrepreneurs at TD. She's focused on empowering and connecting individuals and teams to help unlock the potential of those around her. She's passionate about supporting women entrepreneurs, both personally and professionally. Chantal has worked many places in North America, which gives her a broad comprehension of business. And she currently leads the development and execution for women entrepreneurs strategy across Canada for TD. We're so grateful to be working with Chantal and with TD, and their support of FWE's mentorship program has been really great. And it's been so great to know Chantal, and truly her energy and her passion in this space is contagious. So thank you for joining us, Chantal, and over to you. Let me know when you want me to flip to your next slide.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I'm starting this conversation being a little bit shy, but yeah, I am passionate about it. Before talking about what TD does specifically to support the woman entrepreneur, I just want to pick up on where she left it about the CBA loan. That was such a good summary explanation with all the highlights that needs to be told the market. The one thing I would like to add is the bank's perspective, because it's been going on for, we have it now for a week. And I just want to point out certain things because there's the same question that gets directed to us and all account manager across the country. So just to be clear, like the Canadian Emergency Business Account is a government program, an amazing one, and banks are not responsible to grant any exception. So and not only we're not able to grant any exception, we cannot even take applications. So the only way that you can apply is really just online with your primary financial institution. So whoever you're dealing with right now, whoever handles your payroll and it's your main operational account, we all have a site that is the CBA loan or COVID. You just type, let's say, TD COVID, enter, and you're going to find the actual link. Same thing for BMO, same thing for CIBC. So this is not an initiative that we're trying to get customer. We're just really trying to help our current customer. So online only. Even if you contact your relationship manager, your account manager, your branch staff, we have absolutely no direct access to this. So we're basically administrating the money of the government. And if you get a decline, the government created a new website. It's called cbaquestions.ca. So even when you get a decline, even if you contact your account manager, again, we have no access to that. So go on cbaquestion.ca. And then, so what we do, what we can do and why you should contact your account manager is for sure bounce ideas. We're there to help you, but with your current loan also. So we're offering principal payment deferral. So that's important. So it's okay to ask for new debt. It's okay to ask for more money to go through this tough time, but it's also good to ask for a break of payment. And that's what all banks are offering right now. So it's between 4 and 6 months of capital postponement on your current loan. So what it is do, it's going to protect your credit. So just so you know, and I want to be clear because again, in the past week, same subject came up. This is not a loan forgiveness that the banks are offering. We're offering to defer the capital payment, and that means you're going to pay a little bit more interest because you're not decreasing your capital. So of course there's a cost. It's more interest in the long run, but it's giving you a break of payment. So that's me being very open book and honest about there is a consequence when you ask a break of payment. The other thing that we can do for you, it's on the personal side. So right now we're really focused on making sure that the business survive, and we want you to go through the summer, and we want you to come out of the COVID-19 stronger, but don't jeopardize your personal finance, because your beacon score, your personal score will affect your further business application. So if you are affecting your current beacon score, your Equifax, it's gonna hurt you in your business in 1 year down the road. So think about it right now. So same thing, you can ask your mortgage payment deferral, your credit card minimum payment. I think all banks now, or they lower down the interest and the minimum payment. And if you have an auto loan, well, you can also ask a break. So make sure you're not missing any payments, and make sure you ask a break of payments on anything that you own personally and business-wise, in complement of applying to all the government support that was just presented. You can slip to the slide, and that's just the finishing. So what TD specifically has been doing, well, collaborating with you, with the Forum for Women Entrepreneur on the mentorship. So more than ever, all businesses should reach out and should have a coach That mentorship program is 1 hour a month. It's 12 month period, and it can be done online. So it's the perfect way of starting the coaching and discussing and bouncing any type of situation that you're living right now with the expert of FWE. The other thing that we decided to do is a collaboration with a podcast. So the brand is female. So we just had Minister Inc. last week speak about all the resources. But also what I've been doing is accumulating success stories. So how are you switching your business and how did it affect you? And then you can come and speak on the podcast about the change that you're making, because we want to put light on you. We want to make sure that we're making you shine as an entrepreneur across the country, so more people know you, so more people will buy from you. So we're helping you gain visibility during this rough time. So contact me if you have any innovative idea that came out of that challenging situation, because I would love to have more and more of you speak about your situation on the podcast where everybody can learn. And then also I suggest you listen to everything that was recorded already. And the last thing that we did is a collaboration with Futurpreneur. So if you're between 18 and 39 years old, there is startup loans. So for startups, which is rare in the market, the criteria are usually for companies that are established. So if you're not meeting any criteria that we spoke about earlier in the webinar, I suggest you visit Futurpreneur, because now their mission is switching towards sustainability of the companies. We want to make sure that we are providing income stability. So you can get loans and it comes with mentorship for free. So that's another one. And then we have female entrepreneur accredited banker. Now we have 20 across the country to help you, that were trained specifically on gender biases and how to support your community better. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Next up, we have Lindsay Jones. Lindsay is the head of mid-markets and business banking at HSBC Vancouver. Her banking career has spanned 18 years, working in a number of different areas, including corporate restructuring, debt capital markets, global corporates, and latterly mid-markets. Over to you, Lindsay. Thank you.
Thanks, Paulina, and thank you very much for inviting me to join today. But lots going on in all our world. First of all, I just wanted to say that I hope everyone is keeping healthy and safe. It's a hard time for us all personally, with our families and indeed our businesses. It's an evolving situation that has local and global challenges, and we see that for our clients. And it's created a great deal of uncertainty and disruption for people across all business communities and across the globe. Some of the great things we have seen in our world, and some of the the true grit we see in our business community, is we've seen some great examples of our clients retooling and producing gowns and masks, completely changing shift from stuff that they do day to day. And it's really hard, the stuff that fills your soul when there's a lot of bad news out there. And some of the great stuff is we've been able to do as a bank globally. Where we bank in over 64 countries around the world, have been able to put a fund out there for 25 million to help the medical response situation. Now, the last 5 weeks for us in the banking industry, and I'm sure for all of you in your personal and businesses, has been very busy. And last week we managed to get the rollout of some of these government programs, which Melanie referred to earlier. The first big one is the SIBA scheme. If you could go into the slide for me, Paulina, that'd be great. So what I've included in here is I've included the link for existing HSBC customers, so they're able to get straight through and do the online application. I'd echo exactly the same sentiment as Chantal did previously, in terms of it's a government-run program that is being hosted through banks' websites. So please reach out to each of your own banks to get this link, and we're getting the applications going through right now. To slightly backtrack, again, back to a point that Melanie referred to earlier, I've included the link for the Department of Finance for support for Canadian businesses. I have to say this link has been a lifeline to me, our colleagues and our teams. It's changing, if not every day, every couple of days. I would encourage you to strongly go in and save that link as a favourite and go back and check, because that is where all the live information is happening. In terms of your your business banking needs, reach out to your account managers, have that conversation with them, explain where your pinch points are. Melanie also alluded to a great link and resource that they've got in terms of understanding the cash flow situation. The banks will want to support that payment deferral process, but they also need you to have spent some time to understand what your cash position looks like, what your immediate liquidity issues are, and where your crunch points are, so they can help you through the process. So kind of go through that process. I've included another link in here, 5 ways your business can respond. Now, as I mentioned, we're 5 weeks in, if not further for others. But this article has got 5 steps of 5 things for you as a business to think about. The first one, which we've done in our business, and I'm sure all my peers have done the same, is look after your employees and family first. Then review your supply chain, look at your logistics and distribution, build resilience, and manage financial risk. And this link breaks it all out, but gives you a lot more to work with. I'm sure a lot of this you will have thought of, but it'll help to almost do that tick box exercise. I've also included our cyber crime prevention link. This is a slightly older link from February last year, but all the information is still valid in terms of the tools there. Unfortunately, during this time, we're seeing a lot of increased cyber attacks on our businesses. The opportunistic businesses that are fraudsters that are looking to get out there and pull on the heartstrings of people through COVID-19. So I would encourage all people out there, as well as all the other things you've got to consider right now, just please make sure you are protecting your day-to-day banking needs and keeping that safe. In terms of us as a bank, we are of course offering the payment deferral programs. We have a few different deferral programs depending on the size of your business. For our small businesses with revenue of less than 5 million, I've included a link here, which allows you to apply for relief for various different types of banking facilities you may have. It's also the same link that you can use for your personal banking if you hold personal banking with HSBC, and of course contact your relationship manager. For businesses who have a revenue over 5 million, again, contact your relationship manager, who we can discuss the deferral options and make sure we have a tailor-based solution for you. Finally, I've included our webinar series. This is a series that HSBC is running, but you're able to join in and look. On Thursday this week, we have an economic update and outlook, and on that forum will be our global economist. So to give the world and the larger view perhaps of what's going on, and also our Canadian economist will also be joining that. We've also did a webinar last week, which you'll be able to view through this link, with BDC and EDC, where BDC and EDC specifically talk about their programs and how those programs will operate. Melanie mentioned earlier the programs that we have live, so I'm pleased that we have the CEBA program live. The recent update I have on the EDC program, which is the BCAP program, we're hoping to go live this week with the other lenders, and the BDC program, which is the co-lending program, we're waiting to get more information on that. We're hoping that will be as soon as possible. So I think the next one that will be out will be the EDC one. I feel like I've had a very whistle-stop tour of everything I wanted to say, but I really wanted to share a lot of the links and informations. Where all of us, I'm sure, are getting a ton of emails and all sorts of information from some great resources there, but these are kind of the ones that I think will kind of help hopefully fine-tune your thought process at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Very helpful to get overview. Next up, we have Hedy Afsharian, who is the Director for Business Banking Salesforce based in Ontario West at CIBC. And she frequently presents in similar forums like this. And I understand she has another one coming up next week with Weeby on a similar topic. So clearly, Hedy, you know what you are talking about. So thank you so much for joining us today, and over to you.
Thank you, Paulina, and the organization for having this forum available for us and for inviting all of us to be able to share this absolutely timely and pertinent information with the Canadian public and particularly women entrepreneurs. So before I start the presentation with the relief options, I just wanted to share this part of a release from our president and CEO, Victor Dodig. He goes on to say that for 153 years, we have proudly stood by our clients during both good times and challenging times. And this is our collective privilege as bankers. This is our purpose as bankers. We know our job is to listen to you, respond quickly, and provide the best and timely advice that we can. These are certainly trying times. Our team at CIBC, and I'm sure I speak for all my other colleagues from other FIs represented here, that we are committed to do everything that we can to help you get through this. We will get through this together. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about some relief options, about some existing debt, personal and business, for existing CIBC clients. I will also speak about access to additional funds. I will provide some information for you as to how to contact with your business advisor or someone at CIBC, and I will also talk about some additional information. So there are some loan relief options for existing CIBC clients on the business banking side. There are loan deferrals on both principal and interest payments on term loans for up to 6 months, where clients have the option of deferring the interest portion and the principal portion or both. There's options available to defer line of credit payment options for up to 3 months, where the minimum payment begins in month 4. There are options to defer Canada Small Business Financing loans for up to 12 months with deferred principal and interest. Or on any of these loan facilities that I just mentioned, there's the option of re-amortizing and extending the amortization based on your specific cash flow and based on your specific need. There's also deferral options on credit card payments, where you have the option to defer the minimum payment, principal and interest for up to 3 months, where the minimum payment begins on month 4. There's also an option available for clients who have some assets invested in GICs or term deposits. CIBC is allowing for those term deposits to be cashed out without any redemptions or any loss of interest. So that is available to you. If you contact the CIBC representative, they can tell you about that. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you a little bit about options for personal debt deferrals. Mortgage payments are also available for defer on principal, as well as principal and interest on the personal side. There are a lot of interesting options available on credit cards, which assists in transactions during COVID. One of the options that we have available is called Tap More Touchless, which has increased the tap limit to $250 instead of $100. There's also some options available on this program called PACE-IT, which is an installment program to make installment payments on larger transactions. The ceiling for that has been reduced to $100, and that's available to clients. We talked about Canada Small Business bank accounts. just like all the other organizations, CIBC has opened our doors. We've opened our channels to help fund Canada's business accounts, Canada Emergency Business Accounts. This program was launched and it went live last Thursday, and I can tell you on day one, collectively between all the banks, 70,000 applications went through nationally, and CIBC put through 20 of those applications. For the convenience and the benefit of our clients, as mentioned by all my other colleagues previously, this platform is available to you completely digitally on CIBC.com through online business banking. All you need is to have an online banking access as well as a convenience card. In terms of additional funds that are available to clients, in addition to the Canada Emergency Business Account, is the CIBC BDC co-lending program, which was again mentioned. There's more information to be provided on that, which allows eligible businesses to have up to $1 million in terms of funding for capital injection into their businesses and to support during this testing times. So lots of wonderful programs. How do you contact someone at CIBC? The best way to contact someone and to get all this assistance is to visit our website at cibc.com business banking if you're a business owner or if you need personal assistance on the personal platform. And there you will find a financial assistance form. This financial assistance form will allow someone to give you a call back at the convenience of your time and your space. So there's no wait times on the telephone banking lines. By submitting this form, you're asking for a call back, and an advisor will call you and provide the information that you need. You can also contact the CIBC Business Advisor at your convenience as well. I highly recommend that you visit cibc.com COVID-19 access and look for all the updates that I can assure you are by the minute and are happening very quickly and very frequently. In addition to that, you can also find additional resources on our Advice Center. So it's on the first page of our menu. If you refer to the Advice Center, there you will find informations and webinars on tax planning, tax during COVID-19, as well as all the government programs and how CIBC can help you get through this challenging times. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Paulina. Thank you so much. And thank you. We're here to support you. Please contact us at cibc.com, or my email is available for contact. Paulina can provide that at the end of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hedy. And we will now move on to Devinder. And just for everyone listening, I will remind you that our last presentation is from Devinder, and then we'll move into Q&A. So some of you have popped questions in. Please continue to do so in the chat so that we can curate. So Devinder is the Regional Vice President of Business Financial Services at RBC for British Columbia. She is responsible for all aspects of business banking and leads a dedicated team of industry specialists who bring the best of RBC's financial advice and solutions to help clients and their businesses thrive. With over 24 years of experience, Devinder has a deeply diversified background with strong expertise in the financial services industry, notably in small business, financial planning, retail, and commercial banking. Thank you so much for joining us today, Devinder.
Well, so glad to be here. First and foremost, I hope everyone is safe and well during these very unprecedented times. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to address all of you on the call today, and I'll hopefully answer some questions. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. But I do have the pleasure to lead committed and dedicated professional advisors for business markets and commercial teams here in BC. And it's a team of over 400 in BC, supporting our small business and commercial clients who in the last few weeks have been mobilized and operationalized working from home. And so they are available, and I'm very proud of the team. They're there for our clients, and we've reached out to all of about 100% of our clients to make sure that we're there to support them. Strange as it may sound, you know, the night before this crisis all hit, we actually had a stable and favorable macroeconomic backdrop, and you know, we were on solid footing, delivering mild growth, low inflation, and benefiting from the prior interest rate relief. And now, as we can see, so many negative shocks in the economy, alongside, of course, the health crisis as we've seen it. And you know, our current environment tells us there's, you know, provincial growth forecasting a downgrade, you know, steepest one-year decline in GDP, and a jobless rate, you know, 5.6 will double in BC in March with 7.2. And towards the end, you know, it's not all gray. I think there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's what we have to keep in mind as entrepreneurs, business owners. So during this unprecedented time, COVID's obviously being felt by everyone, but it's quite acute for our business owners and entrepreneurs, and they're feeling the burden of this crisis and the anxiety and the worries on the long-term impact for the viability of the businesses and the well-being of employees and their families. And in the last few weeks, I've been reaching out not only to my teams, but to speak with business owners, and obviously some common themes have come out. And I won't go too much into the length of the government programs, because I think my colleagues have done a phenomenal job of outlining that. But the one thing that we've seen is, you know, contingency business plans have had to be implemented due to closures and physical distancing measures. And of course, you know, disruption to the supply chain, dramatic reduction in sales volumes with limited options in some cases to compensate. And for this, many have had to make some gut-wrenching decisions to lay off staff. You know, in the past few weeks, we have been cooperating and coordinating with the government, the other large 5 banks, to provide this relief. And I think, you know, part of the RBC Client Relief Program, as with the other financial institutions, is one, to provide immediate relief, because there is going to be that pressure that's going to be felt by a lot of businesses. And then to move into sort of what does that long-term relief look like? Because as you can all attest to, it is difficult to understand and appreciate potentially how long this crisis will go on. And, you know, we talk about ebbs and flows, and, you know, putting a curve there to help us. But, you know, we're assessing the needs of the business owners who've been affected by COVID on a case-by-case basis. You know, not all segments have been impacted at the same level. Not all business owners have been impacted at the same level. So relief right now could definitely be some of these government programs or some of these loan payment deferral programs. As we progress and understand and appreciate the conversations with our clients, increasing operating lines, waiving of credit card minimum payments, set up fees for cash management solutions, allowing people to do things remotely in terms of their cash management, and also potentially not having to waver out of their business or their offices or their homes to try to go to the bank, waive stop payment fees. And of course, we heard of this from Lindsay with respect to helping our clients to have a forward-looking review of their cash flow for future needs. You know, last week we did see CEBA, the Canada Emergency Business Account, launched, and we're continuing to work with EDC and BDC to, you know, help and enact that and help our clients in the coming days. Our key focus is to help our clients with their liquidity needs, considering the operating environment, as I described earlier, and really advising them on that liquidity management, helping them leverage, you know, first, hopefully the government programs, and then if required, deferral programs. You know, applying for deferral programs once all the emergency funds in the government programs make sense. However, we know that the government programs have not all been enacted, and so hence the deferrals will definitely help. And hence why I think, and we heard it on the call already, it is key that you access your advisor, talk to them. I highly recommend that you sit down and talk about the impact to your business. There are more than a few reasons you should be sitting down right now, even if you're not needing the full support or not needing deferrals or even some access to the government programs. You know, the business segments have been impacted differently. We don't know how long COVID will truly be. And then first and foremost, I think the part about asking for borrowing moving forward and the credit needs your business might have, and having that business plan and those forward-looking projections and working with your advisor to sit down and talk about the impact to your business, I think is key, not only from a sustainability standpoint, but also to make sure that you're able to be there for your team and your staff as well. I will end with saying that there are some positive forces in action here. You know, we have not seen a fiscal stimulus at 10% of GDP. That's an enormous amount of money into the system. And I think those do allow for some tailwinds for upwinds when things do open up again. Spring through summer, we're hopeful, and perhaps there will be some opening of businesses in Canada in varying degrees in June with varying measures. There definitely are lessons to be learned from others making re-entry and from other business owners as well. But we recognize that consumers will remain cautious and won't likely rush out to the same level of consumption that they did previously, and hence why having that conversation around the impact to your business now and in the future is key. Our chief economist spoke, and with low interest rates and pent-up demand, by 2021 there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But at the end of the day, we recognize that will take time and take a lot of patience as well. So I recommend RBC's Thought Leadership on SoundCloud. I'll send that out. It's a 10-minute take with John Stackhouse, and it really gives you a little bit about the situation today, as it's very fluid, and how events evolve, and how our approaches as a financial institution and our outlooks also evolve day by day. So I will send out my pertinent details and contact details and the link to the podcast afterwards to Paulina.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Devinder. That was really helpful. There's been a couple questions, so I will try to summarize them, and maybe whoever it is relevant for can hop in. This is a question I've heard a lot, which is, what about businesses that are in the startup stage? So perhaps ones that didn't yet qualify, maybe they didn't have payroll yet, they were just at the ramp up stage. What is the best avenue for them to pursue?
Sorry, it's Lindsay here. I would say I obviously don't know when these individual businesses have started up running, but I would be asking them to reach directly to their account manager. Banks are looking at every case on a case-by-case basis and trying to understand the circumstance to help point people towards the schemes, or actually look to see what the bank individually themselves can do to help.
This is Chantal. I would also suggest them, because they could be considered as self-employed. And as Melanie mentioned earlier, the CERB federal program could apply. And what it does is it just gives them $2,000 a month to live during that tough time. So usually startups, they don't have $50,000 of salary that they paid in 2019. So it's hard for them to be able to be eligible for any of that. The only option that when it comes to the government left is really the $2,000 a month. So in French it's PUC, and in English it's CERB.
A question that is
they're self-employed.
Thank you, Chantal. A question that has come in, and the specific person had a challenge with TD, so it's been good timing that you were on. But the question was around who is responsible for administering the CEBA loans? Is it the banks or governments? The person says that I know that my business qualifies, but she's tried to apply twice and getting issues with application and having a hard time reaching people. I know there's challenges, of course, with the systems, but could you maybe walk through the process behind that?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said during my CEBA presentation, when it comes to TD or any other banks, us account manager absolutely have no access to that decision, to that funding, to that system. So no one from the banks can actually do anything for you for the CEBA loan. And as soon as you have a like you said, maybe a mistake, or you apply twice and you get rejected twice, the only way to ask an appeal of your file is online, and it is through CEBA question.ca. So the banks knew that this was coming, so they requested the government to open an email and a website for all inquiries to make sure that the government can reopen the file and look at the application. And it's frustrating for clients because you see the site and it says TD COVID CEBA loan application. But really, the only thing that all the banks did is a platform for the government to flow their funds to us. So even though it says TD, even though it says you're a financial institution, and you think that you are on our website, you are not. Which makes it very confused. So it's all online. Like, we don't have any any access. And it's very frustrating because usually banks, us, account manager, it's our responsibility to be like, oh yeah, for sure, let me look into it. Let me open my system. Let me do this. Right now, it's not us. That's just a facing. So it's online, fwe.ca.
So the best way for people to get assistance would be to go to their account manager directly?
No, they
No,
really
not
can't.
even. Oh.
No, that's my point. And that was the first part of my presentation is there is no point contacting your account manager, their bosses, their branch manager. We have no access to this. So the best way, which is the only way, I will repeat, it's online. We have no access, us as bankers. So imagine how frustrating it is. We have absolutely nothing to do with it. So their website is fwe.ca. That's it. Even us, if we want to have a question, we need to go through this. So there is no point contacting your account manager because we can't. It's not us, it's the government. We're just facing it. It's just an online platform that we deploy to make sure that you get the money in your account. It's a very weird system.
Okay, and thank you for that, Chantal. I can imagine it'd be frustrating for you.
But we want to help.
I know.
But this is the only program we cannot do anything.
Devinder, it looked like you might have been trying to speak.
Yeah, I was just going to say there is, because in each one of the circumstances, as I understand it for the financial institutions, in their online banking or other portal, an invitation would have come for the fwe program. If the invitation is not there, that might be the reason to reach out to your account manager, because there may be a reason, either the type of business or you may not be eligible. And so there might just be an opportunity for understanding and clarification if you have an advisor or a relationship, just as to understand why you would not have received that. Beyond that, yes, the escalation process as it stands right now, we do not have intermittent opportunities to understand whether someone has been approved or would or not receive those funds. So the only one is that if you go into your online banking or to your other portal for cash management and you don't see that invitation, then you definitely want to just understand maybe why you weren't a part of the program. If you feel that you're qualified.
For us, it's open though. Yeah, for us, it's open. It has nothing to do with our online system. Anybody can type fwe TD COVID enter, and then anyone can apply really on a different platform. We didn't link it to our online banking. The one thing to keep in mind, and thank you very much for your comment because it made me remember, you need to be in good standing with all your current loans for the application to be approved as well. And that's not a criteria that is listed on any website. So the reality is that if you're in good standing means no lack of payment, and then all that your current loan with your bank has no red flag on it. So if you already had some situation that are not yet resolved and you are in default of any way with any product of your bank, it won't be approved.
Another question that has come in is, I want to confirm in regards to the loan guarantee by BDC and EDC. Is this only for businesses with payroll above 1 million? Is this correct? And this will be rolled out when?
Okay, maybe I can help answer this question. My understanding of the BDC and CIBC or RBC, a financial institution co-lending program, is not payroll dependent, whereas it is revenue dependent. So if a company has over a certain threshold in terms of revenue, they qualify for X limit. If the revenue is below a threshold, they qualify for a little bit less. So it is really the size and the magnitude and the revenue generated by the company that is taken into consideration, and not so much payroll. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I think what's important and why it's hard to answer some of these questions is because their details are still being worked out by the federal government. And so going back to the finance department, the link that Lindsay put on her slide is so important to just continually check for updates.
Thank you. A question that we had come in via email earlier is, what about funding options for businesses to move forward once we're back to, normal operations, or once we're back to kind of resuming other operations of business, not just focused on COVID? So how can entrepreneurs really have the foresight, and how can they think of things going forward? Chantal, I know earlier you had said, there's debt available out there that you can ask for financing, ask for money. So perhaps maybe we could round out with each one of you commenting on how can entrepreneurs really think about that moving forward in a really thoughtful way.
I'll jump in and go first.
Yeah.
I said earlier that Women's Enterprise Center in British Columbia has a loan program for up to $150,000, and that loan program is still open. We are looking at current applications, and business is still going on. And in some cases, this is an opportunity to work on your business, to work through projects that you've been thinking about but haven't had the time to do. One loan that we did last week, the client said that COVID-19 has been positive and that it allowed them to reduce some of the expenses that were dragging down their profitability. And they're able now to move forward with a strategic project that they've been wanting to do. And so they just did the usual process of preparing their business plan, preparing their cash flow projections, and putting it forward. And, we look at it through the lens of, we're in a pandemic, but that doesn't mean that business is stopped. And it really is looking at the level of risk, and is the business able to handle that level of risk and to see it through. And in many cases, we've done a second loan as well for someone who was buying a new business, an existing business running well and was actually doing well in COVID-19, and they were able to get financing. So don't stop applying, at least to Women's Enterprise Center in BC. And if you're not in BC, you can look at fwe.ca for the organization in your area for women entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Melanie. Maybe I'll turn it over to Lindsay.
Sure. We have similar stories to Melanie within our world in terms of businesses that our existing clients that we are still able to support. I'm currently helping some clients who are looking at acquisition funding. They're businesses that are valid businesses. They're businesses that are operating well. They're businesses that we can see will come out of this COVID crisis and want to continue our support. So I suppose my message is that we're there, and everything is always on a case-by-case basis, but it's definitely not that the door is shut to finance.
Thank you. Hedy?
Yes, hi, thank you. So my message would be reach out for advice, more so than ever before. So just as you may be reaching out to your advisor, your financial institution, to discuss some of the options you have during this time to perhaps reinvent yourself and deal with disruptions. And this is one of the biggest disruptions that we've experienced in all of our businesses. How do I deal with this disruption? How do I reinvent myself? Reach out to it for advice. And then to also let you know what CIBC is doing is that we have a proactive outreach program where we are calling our clients, letting them know about some of the options they have, some of the options that have been available to them. And I can tell you, just like Lindsay said, just like Melanie said, we are in this together. And the financial institutions, all great financial institutions in Canada, they're here to help you through this. And the rug will definitely not be pulled from under your feet at times like this. And we're in this together. This is what you need to keep in mind, and continue to reach out for advice, and continue to think about how you will reinvent your business during this time or after this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Devinder?
Thank you. Yeah, just to close, I mean, I think I echo the comments from everybody. We're there to help. This is really a time where the financial institutions are working side by side, all hours of the night with the government to help clients and businesses to survive and to stay and remain liquid and be there for the Canadian population. I would, really take the time to work with your financial institution right now. I would, ensure that you're providing as much information as possible, including assessing operational impacts to your business, assessing impact on liquidity and funding. Now moving forward, assessing cash flows. There will be opportunities where your accountant will work with you. There will be an opportunity where your advisor can help you in some circumstances, but then there will be times where they will need additional information. So my point here is that it may sound as if there's more information that's being asked of, but it's really because, as Lindsay said, on a case-by-case basis, we need to appreciate and understand your current circumstances, your forward-looking sustainability and cash flow and impact of COVID. So we're there for you. Reach out. As I indicated, I'll provide my details and some additional links. I also did get a private message from somebody, and I will act upon that as well, just letting the person on the call know that I did receive it in the group chat, asking for some additional information from their RBC account manager, and we'll get back to you on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Devinder. And Chantal, one last over to you before we wrap up.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I was on mute trying to talk.
Oh, good.
I just want to say, I think what we're seeing coming is whenever all the government application will be done and that the entrepreneur will have used the new program, we're going to see an increase in demand when it comes to line of credit to be able to start operating again this summer and to be back on track for the fall. And what most banks have done, and we did it, and I suggest that you look into it, is it's a temporary increase in line of credit. So that's the next step that is coming. Feel really comfortable writing an email and contacting your account manager about temporary increase in line of credit to be able to start operating again. I think that's going to help you buy material for your furniture, for your supplier. And when you do reach out to us, be very clear on your ask, and also list all the things that you've done so far to help yourself. The risk and the COVID effect on your business, how did you mitigate it? And you can also include personal things, like it's okay to talk about your financial health situation, but it's also okay to talk about it's also okay to talk about your family and laying off employees and the social impact and the feeling that it provided in your business. Like, just be human. So of course talk about numbers, but also talk about the social impact, and then ask for a line of increase in line of credit or anything else that you would need.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for those who listened. And the recording will be made available on our website afterwards, along with the PowerPoint and contact information. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.